Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. Touchdowns, so liquid air on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
What's going on, good people? Welcome to the Pro Fan Talk. And as you can see, I'm coming early at you today. You didn't expect that, huh? Y'all didn't expect that. What's going on, my man? K-Sap, first out the limo. What's good with you, brother? Coming at you early today. Been off all week. So now, K-Sap, to your point, I had an opportunity to play with some graphics. And I'm messing around with my times a little bit. Normally, I don't go this early, but I always see people streaming this early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So I thought I would give it a shot, see what we come up with. Appreciate that, Carlos. Appreciate that. So yeah, man, it's just doing some things. Wanted to do a recap of the game last night and what went down. And you know, they where's my second monitor? There we go. So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Did the Fever get like stomped? I don't think they got stomped. I just think they couldn't hit shots. But the result is still the same. The final score was too much to not enough. That's what it comes down to. And all of these people that were talking about, you know, what they were going to do without Caitlin Clark. Well, you know, you effed around and found out. You effed around and found out. But here's the funny part. And this is based on my opinion. They lost the same way they did when Caitlin Clark was playing. They had, based on my opinion, on my observations of the game, they had a relatively good game. They had a couple bad quarters, but again, that's been status quo for them. They've talked about not getting a good start, but it's the fourth quarter where they can't finish. And today, let me show you the stat. Let me show you the stat right here that I was like, yeesh, y'all got to do better than this. Look at this right here. Can y'all see this? Let me move out the way. Move to the other side. Let me see. Where'd it go? K-Sap, I'm doing this OBS thing again. So I'm trying to get back into OBS because I can do some other things, but I'm trying to remember some stuff. But look at this right here. Look at this right here. Fast break points. 0. 0 fast break points. Move that up right there. 0 fast break points. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 0 fast break points. They didn't get nothing. And you ain't gonna you're not gonna win if you can't score. That's what it come down to. You're not gonna win if you can't score. So it was that was they had some good defensive stops, but when they went back down on the offensive side of the court, they could not convert. And every game they've lost, that's how they've lost. And it's not, to me, and maybe this is my from playing, watch, that's not a Stephanie White thing. I made the reference the other day. The way Chicago's losing, I can't put that all on Tyler Marsh. At some point in time, the women on the court got to make the shots. Kelsey Mitchell said it last night in her post game. She said, I couldn't hit water at a beach. She just wasn't shooting good. And when they win games, those role players, those supporting players hitting their shots. That's what makes the difference. Kelsey Mitchell is arguably the fastest player in the league. I think Brittany Sykes and Kelsey Mitchell are the fastest players. And I'm talking about like quick off the dribble, the way they play, just being able to penetrate and just blow by any defender. But Kelsey Mitchell, she is so fast that the ball is coming so hot off her hands that it comes hard off the rim and she doesn't finish. She had like 2 or 3 shots like that. And it was the same way the game before. And then Aaliyah Boston is missing. Natasha Howard is missing. This is all in the paint. You finally get a good offensive game from DeWanna Bonner, and they can't take advantage of it. They can't take advantage of it at all. Aaliyah Boston was okay. Aaliyah Boston, 10-7, but she had 4 assists and she had 2 steals and 3 block shots. So she filled the stats. She played a good complete game, but there was some shots. Y'all know my favorite chart. Y'all know my favorite chart is this right here. That's my favorite chart. That right there. Let me dumb myself down just a little bit more so I get out the way. That's my favorite chart right there. Look at all of the missed shots, man. Look at all of them. Look at all of the missed shots. And then when it comes down to it, look down here. Look here. Right here. This is it right here. 39, they shot below 40%. They shot 43%. But all of this, man, look at all these missed shots. Actually, Indiana did good in the paint. Look at all these mid-range misses. Nothing. Inside the paint, nothing. Then out here, look at this right here. They could not, just not hitting the shots. And the no fast break points. Lord have mercy. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in the water in Indiana. I don't know. Is it the corn? It is the Indiana Fever are not hitting their free throws to save their life right now. They are not hitting their free throws. Chicago Cheetah, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Kiki Iriafen, honestly, I think her and Sonia Citron are neck and neck. And I'm hoping they don't cancel each other out because they're on the same team. Because both of them are playing phenomenally. Sonia Citron, she didn't go off like the last game, but she had a solid game, 13 points, 7 rebounds. And then assist. She had a solid game. But Kiki's was going off. And listen, man, like I gotta call it like I see it. Right now, Brittany Sykes and Natasha Cloud are probably playing the best basketball in the league right now. And I'm taking, take Asia, take Fee. We already know about them. Who's playing good right now? Asia and Fee. That's like cheating. So I take them out of the mix. What Brittany Sykes is doing right now for Washington and what Natasha Cloud is doing for New York, I didn't see that coming. Brittany Sykes is, let me make sure of this. Let me make sure of this. Brittany Sykes, I want to make sure of this. Brittany Sykes, schedule, blah, 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 box scores. Brittany Sykes. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Look at this. I want y'all to look at this. Look at this. What does that say? What does that say? That says 5'9", 154. Brittany Sykes is going up, pulling rebounds like she's 6'2", 6'3. She already, like I said earlier, her and Kelsey Mitchell are probably, arguably, the two fastest players in the league. In my opinion, my list right now, I'm working on this. My list right now as the quote unquote fastest players in the league. Brittany Sykes, Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Plum, Carla Lee, and Arike Agumbawale. But Brittany is just blowing by folks, and she got bunnies. She is going up and taking rebounds from Damiris Dantas, from Natasha Howard, from Aaliyah Boston. That should not happen. But it is. Brittany Sykes is all over the court. She's been like that all year. Maybe I just missed her last year because last year was my rookie year as a coach. Or not as a coach, but as a fan. But this year, did I just miss her last year? Did I just completely miss what Brittany Sykes was doing? Was she even with the Mystics last year? I don't know. She was not. She get the apology. She get the apologies. I'm gonna have to make a graphic for an apology stamp. Brittany Sykes gets the apology. Bam. I apologize. I was not familiar with your game. Brittany Sykes has been killing them. She got injured, I think. Yes, I think that's what it was. She got injured last game. She had a thigh thing going on and didn't play, but she came back hard, man. She almost 22, 5 and 5, 4.8. You might as well round up. She killing them right now. But the Indiana Fever, they went tit for tat, and it was a relatively close game. And then in the fourth quarter, again, Indiana can't make their free throws, and they're getting open shots. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's not like, the Washington defense was stifling, and they went back and forth on defense because Indiana played really good defense against the Mystics. At least I thought. They forced a bunch of turnovers. They forced a bunch of unforced errors, things of that nature. So I think defensively, that was a good game. I would almost call that a wash, almost a stalemate defensively. But in the fourth quarter, Indiana had open shots that they could not make. They couldn't make. And that is the difference. When you losing by 9 points or lose by 1. They lost the other night. They lost that game by 1 point. That's because they couldn't hit no damn free throws. One extra shot, missing layups under the basket. They make one of those shots, it's a different outcome. Every shot matters, and they couldn't get it done, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I don't know why all of a sudden Kelsey Mitchell can't shoot, but that's the shooter's lament. Every shooter's gonna go through this. Every shooter is going to go through this. They're going to hit their slump. Some get it. Hopefully, Kelsey Mitchell is going through this early, and then the half and then latter half of the year, and then into late into the season, she'll be gone through that. Where some people still got to go through that slump. Everybody go through it. Everybody get a turn. Yeah, yeah. Sykes has been balling, man. She's been balling. Um, yeah, Aaliyah Boston's been having a good year, but it's here's where I switch it up. Where instead of looking at the macro, because Wody Mack, you're not wrong. But instead of looking at the macro, I'm looking at the micro. I'm looking at specific instances in the game when she gets a rebound taken. Now, the one thing I will say about Aaliyah Boston, because this drove me crazy last year, right? This drove me crazy last year with Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston, she would get the ball in the paint, but maybe about 8 feet from the basket. So she had to dribble and back her defender down. And Aaliyah Boston can't dribble. She would be literally looking at the ball like a 7-year-old playing basketball for the first time, dribbling the ball. And I remember taking note of this. Whenever she dribbled the ball more than 3 times, more likely than not, it was a turnover. On that third dribble and going into the fourth, that's when the ball was either stolen, she dribbles it off her foot, or she gives, just like all big girls do, they have a tendency to bring the ball down low. And it gives the opportunity for smaller players to get their hands on the ball. And then they got to fight to get the ball back up in the air. And even if they do, they're fighting the resistance. And then they get up and they get out of control. Whereas you get some players, and I've seen Kiki do this, I've seen Asia do this, where they get the ball and they keep the ball high and then go up and get their shot. I don't understand, and I do. Let me stop saying that. I understand why they do it, and to me, anybody out there that's ever coached basketball or they coach kids, they have what I call big girls disease, and what that is they're always used to being the biggest girl in the gym on the court, and everybody was scared of them, and they get used to bringing the ball down, or like Aaliyah. When she takes down Aaliyah's holding that ball like a loaf of bread. I rarely see Aaliyah Boston do this and put them elbows out and squeeze that ball. And you get smaller players, quicker players that sneak in there and tap the ball away and steal her rebounds, cause a turnover. To me, that's what I call big girls disease. Camila Cardoso, you ever seen her jump? Her vertical is very small because she's used to being the tallest person in the room. And we can get into how female knees are as opposed to men's knees. There are some biological differences and something like that and things like that. But usually tall girls don't jump because they never had a reason to. So, and it causes turnover. You get a ball up. Now, I said all of that to say she is a hell of a lot better this year than she was last year. She is dribbling the ball better. She's got that turnaround jumper. She's doing that better. She's not scared. She doesn't want to take 3-pointers, but you can tell she's practiced it enough to where she's comfortable doing it. Now, she ain't a Jonquel Jones, but she's hit a couple threes in some clutch situations. And it's nice to be able to have your big do that. My problem is sometimes, now this is where you kind of shifted to Stephanie White. Do we have to play with our big girl at the top of the key all the time? What are we, the Sixers? Are you Joel Embiid? I don't want to see you out there trying to cross folks over, trying to get to the rim that far out. Play her down a little bit. Get her close to the block. That's what she's been doing her most work. However, let me pump the brakes a little bit because, Wody Mack, to your point, Aaliyah Boston is having a pretty damn good year this year. She's having a pretty damn good year this year. So right now, I'm nitpicking. But that's how I see it. So Yeah. Wody Mack. Hey, I'm with you, 100%, 100%. I agree. Um, but some of them don't. You immediately tell who does and who doesn't. You can Kiki Iriafen. She ain't scared of nobody. She ain't scared of nobody, and she letting folks know. You can bring that noise if you want to. You gonna fuck around and find out. So, um, I think even better, in my opinion, even right now, better than what Angel Reese was doing last year, or about the same. I was about to say because the one thing I liked about Angel Reese last year, and even this year, Angel Reese knows how to position herself for rebounds better than almost anybody in the league, and I see that in Kiki Iriafen. She knows how to rebound. She knows where she's supposed to be. She can time her jump, and she can. I would argue that Kiki Iriafen can probably jump better than most people in the league. And she hits that smooth jumper from the elbow. Um, she got a nice little jump shot. So as her confidence continues to grow, I continue to look for Kiki to continue. And she's going to have a breakout game where she's just going to be dominant. I'm still hoping upon hope that I can see her dunk on somebody. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's us in Indiana. I don't care. I want to see her go up and throw it down on somebody and just dominate. That to me, that's like a wild animal pissing on a tree. You marking your territory. If she does that in a game and she dunks like I know she could dunk when them workout tapes in college and all that type of stuff, I know she got the potential to do it. You ain't got to do it every time, but just imagine the mental games that is going to play on people. I would love to see her dunk on Alyssa Thomas. I would absolutely love that. Because now I'm watching Alyssa Thomas play and I'm like, you know what? Is Alyssa Thomas a dirty player? Can we put her in that category? Or is she just a hard nosed player? I'm kind of confused on that. I don't dislike her. I just dislike some of the things that she's doing. And as a comp, I was never a fan of Diana Taurasi. I couldn't take nothing away from Taurasi's game, but to me, Taurasi was a dirty player. So I was never, I wasn't feeling her like that. And Alyssa Thomas, I like Alyssa Thomas because she don't say shit to nobody. She don't do a lot of talking. She don't. All she do is get down there and handle business. And if it comes to that, where you got to do a little pushing and shoving, she ain't got no problem doing that either. So is she a dirty player? AFTR photography says yes, she's a dirty player. Hey man, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Because I like the way she plays. She plays like I played when I played football. I wasn't a shit talker. Only thing I would say to people is what did I used to say? Because I was a running back, so when you experience things at the bottom of a pile. Let me this yeah. So um in college, I used to wear a shield because people used to try to give you the wet willies and stick their fingers in your hands and um they would try to scoop up dirt and like throw it in your eyes. If you down on the ground and they try to scoop dirt in your eyes, stuff like that. They would do all that type of shit. Man. And they talking stuff in your ear, all that type of stuff. But I used to say assholes and elbows. And like some of them look at you like, because that's all you're gonna see of me. Assholes and elbows. Because if you see my assholes and elbows, that means I'm past you, taking it to the house. But I'll say all that to say I wasn't a big shit talker. That's not my personality. So we can agree that Alyssa Thomas is a dirty player. All right, I'll take that. But you know, the overall sentiment with Indiana is they were going to lose some games without Caitlin Clark, and I'm like, well, duh, Captain Obvious. But to see the way they lost last night, that actually gave me hope because they lost the same way they did when Caitlin Clark was playing. And right now, and I think it'll get better again. And I say this all the time. We talk about 5 and 6 games. Indiana's played 5. Washington's played 3. Washington's 3-3. Indiana's 2-3. So holler at me when we get to game 10 and we have a better sample size. Because things are going to change. Things are going to get better. Things are going to Stephanie White is still mixing and matching. You know what I mean? Sophie Cunningham came down to earth. Then you can see people for what they really are, because everybody's going to get an opportunity. And what I mean by that is you hear all of these names, but are they really that good? Prime example. Look at what Marina Mabry's doing in Connecticut. Marina Mabry's been balling the last couple games. And when she left Chicago, you looking at her some kind of way, like, you really think you that good? She getting her opportunity and she making the most of it. Brittany Sykes. I wasn't paying no attention last year, but clearly I should have been. When you get your opportunity to shine, are you going to be dominant? Are you going to make people remember what you did? Are you going to be the game plan? And for those of you, if you never played at the collegiate level, at the professional level, every team that you play, you got a game plan. When I was with the Eagles, if we was playing the Cowboys, the game plan was Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. That was the game plan. The game plan was figuring out a way to stop them. If you playing the Eagles, the game plan will stop Randall Cunningham. You got to figure out a way. You got to come up with a game plan to stop him. The blueprint is already out on Caitlin Clark. When she don't get her calls and you get in her pocket, everybody, and I can say it right now, and I'm saying this as a Caitlin Clark fan, anybody that's playing against Indiana, go back and watch the game from New York. Watch how Natasha Cloud D'd her up. Now, she still had a decent game. She still got jump shots off. But the thing with getting to Caitlin Clark is you got to get in here, because every now and then she's going to hit that logo 3. That's just what she does. And you got to accept the things that great players do. You got to accept that. But what you got to do is you got to limit it. You're not going to stop it. You just got to limit it. You just got to slow it down and make somebody else beat you. Very similar to, I was talking about Kiki Iriafen. When Juju Watkins got hurt, that game that Juju got hurt, Kiki went off because they knew they had to go to her. The next game in the tournament, I think Kiki had maybe like 12 points or something like that. It was a very average pedestrian game. That was the game that she needed to dominate. And she couldn't do it because the game plan was to stop her. They didn't have to stop her and Juju. All they had to do was stop her. And that's exactly what they did. When you play in Indiana, you look at that game, you look at what Natasha Cloud did, getting in her head. Y'all know I'm the first one to say that Caitlin Clark's body language sucks when she's not getting her calls. And that is an easy way to get in her head, rent space in her head. That's what you got to do. But if she gets hot, you in for a long night. You in for a long night. So her and Natasha Cloud traded. It was a tight game. One shot. You D them up and you get one shot. And then wasn't that the game they lost by 1? So one shot, some point in the game, you get good defense on that one shot, and that one shot ends up making a difference in the end, especially when you lose by 1. So Natasha Cloud has put out the blueprint on what to do with Caitlin Clark. Everybody guards are hard. Even now, I've seen content now. You look at people how they guard Paige Beckers against how they guard Caitlin Clark and every other guard in the league. Why are they spending so much time really trying to get in Caitlin Clark's face? If she wasn't that good, you wouldn't worry about it. Let's keep it a buck. So people want to act all passe like, oh, she ain't all that. And yes, she is all of that. Because if she wasn't all of that, you wouldn't guard her like she was. And she's still getting buckets. So let's look at the psychology and how to do it. Again, props to New York. Props to Natasha Cloud. Natasha Cloud is killing it right now. Natasha Cloud and my new favorite French player, Marine Johannes. These French players ain't playing. Marine Johannes, Carla Lee, Gabby Williams, they ain't playing. But Natasha Cloud has written the blueprint on what to do with Caitlin Clark, and watch all of the other teams follow suit. They're going to try to put somebody on her to really get in her face. And you notice everybody's still putting that hand in her face, doing all of that type of stuff with varying degrees of success. Because again, my criticism of Caitlin is when her jump shots are not falling, I think she waits too long before she begins to penetrate and try to make things happen. Because whenever she goes to the rack, everybody collapses on her, and that leaves everybody open on the perimeter around her. And then it falls on, get the ball to Lexi Hull, get the ball to Kelsey Mitchell, because they make, especially Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull doesn't usually get a lot of shots, but she usually makes the ones that she gets. Lexi Hull is a 10 to 12 point person. If she gets up to 18 in the 20s, that means she's doing a little bit above and beyond. But when she's 3 for 4 or whatever, now she didn't have a good game the other night, but normally she makes those shots. She need to penetrate a little bit more. But again, in the fourth quarter, it was bad for business for Indiana. And the Mystics made their shots. Even Shakira Austin was shaking and baking. Shakira Austin trying to get this turnaround jumper. And she was hitting them. So it all comes down to I'm a big proponent of there's only so much you can blame on a coach. There's only so much a coach can do. Coaches don't hit jump shots. They don't make free throws. They don't take charges. They don't make passes. They don't get rebounds. And they don't shoot threes. So the women on the floor got to get it done. And when they don't, you're going to take that L. What is White trying to figure out to play the women she brought in to play their positions and let AB, CC, Lexi, and then run their picks and roll is not working? John, I don't necessarily agree with that. She's still trying to figure it out, but you figure they only lost they've lost 2 games by what, 1 point? So they've been in the games, even the game last night. They lost by 9, but midway through the fourth quarter, they still had an opportunity to win that game. So I don't necessarily agree with that. In my opinion, it ain't Stephanie White's offense. It's when you get, how many times do they go down the lane and Natasha Howard put the ball up and they don't make the layup? Kelsey Mitchell, don't hit the layup. Lexi Hull, don't hit the layup. Aaliyah Boston, don't hit the layup. That's not coaching, in my opinion. And like I said, when I watched that game, there were plenty of open shots by Indiana that they did not make. If they make those shots, we having a different conversation. To me, that's what it comes down to. I don't care who your coach is. If Pat Riley come down and start coaching in the WNBA and the women on the court don't make the jump shots, it don't matter that Pat Riley is there. It doesn't matter. Coaches can only do so much. Where the coach comes into play is like the game in New York. You got 4.7 seconds left. You're drawing up a play for an inbound play to get the ball to Caitlin Clark so she can take the last shot. And on the flip side of that, Sandy Brondello is drawing up a defense to prevent that from happening. Who won? New York won. Not because Caitlin Clark can't shoot, but because Natasha Cloud D'd her up, didn't get called for a foul, and it is. You can argue that, was it a foul? Wasn't a foul? I didn't think it was a foul. I thought that was good defense. Plenty of people would argue, but at the end of the day, it don't matter now, does it? The refs are part of the game, good and bad. You're going to get that. Ain't nothing you can do about it. So after I get mad at a play because a foul wasn't called, got to keep it moving. I was more upset that DeWanna Bonner didn't get her call on the baseline. That was more important than that last shot, because if DeWanna Bonner gets that call where she got knocked on her butt, Natasha Cloud knocked her down. She goes to the free throw line. She hits them free throws. Now they up by 1. Now it's a different set of circumstances coming down at the end. So every shot counts, man. Every shot counts. So how come everyone was blaming Christy Size last year? Because it was clear that Christy Size got outmatched a couple times last year. It was clear. And you could, in my opinion, you could go back in some of them games, go back to some of them games last year and look at some of those late game timeouts that Christy Sides has and look at the faces on the bench. Your facial expression can tell on you sometimes. If your coach is calling some bullshit, it's written all over your face. So clearly, Christy Sides was outmatched a little bit. Because let me be honest with you, I wouldn't have minded if they would have kept Christy Sides, but it would have been the wrong move. And everybody knew it. She knew it. She knew it. If Christy Sides was so good, how come she ain't got a job right now? Who's she coaching with? What is she doing right now? Did nobody pick her up? And if you're a good coach, you'll get an assistant coaching job. Hell, she beat Teresa Weatherspoon, and Teresa Weatherspoon already got another job. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it from that standpoint. I didn't think Christy Sides was as bad as people thought, but she was outclassed a few times. So they had to make that move. And if you get Christy Sides and you want to put her side by side with Stephanie White, I'm taking Stephanie White all day. On top of Stephanie White used to be a player. So there was a little bit more to it than that. And I thought that Stephanie White wanting to come to Indiana was a no-brainer, in my opinion. You got a chance to get Stephanie White, somebody that played for your organization and is a proven good coach, and you gonna stick with Christy Sides? Come on now. Let's talk real business. Caitlin Clark is the fastest player in the WN, but they don't have people to keep up with her. I would disagree. I love Caitlin Clark, but she definitely is not the fastest person. Sometimes she can have some cement shoes when it comes to defense. She has been shook a few times. So, nah, I'm not putting Caitlin Clark as one of my fastest players. Nope. She's not faster than Kelsey Mitchell. She's not faster than Brittany Sykes. Definitely not faster than Enrique. She's not faster than Kelsey Plum. Carla Lee, I haven't seen them play each other, but I've seen Carla Lee for Golden State a couple times, and I was like, oof, that girl can blow by you. Now, what I will say is Caitlin Clark has good speed. And there are some people that she can blow by, but she is not one of my fastest players in the league. Oh, it's all good, John. You know me, man. I try to keep it a buck, man. You can respectfully disagree, bro. It's all good. Kev, that if they can just shoot better, but you're 100% right. Here's the problem. That is such a generic answer that it's almost like people don't take it seriously. Like, that's always the issue. If a team can shoot better, they would win. That's always the answer. But people, you kind of, it's almost cliche. I used to use a joke when I was playing ball, almost like when you tell somebody you injured, well, what's wrong with you? I got turf toe. You got what? And like people, the phrase turf toe does not sound very seriously. But if anybody's ever had turf toe, you know how debilitating that could be. The pain from your foot getting jammed in your joints. Ugh. If you've never had it, you don't understand it. But if you tell somebody you got turf toe, oh, you'll be all right. No, the hell you won't. It's kind of like that. So if they can just shoot better as a team, that is the default answer to any team that loses. Chicago would have a couple wins if they could shoot better as a team. Well, duh, Captain Obvious. So you're not wrong. However, there's a lot more to it. It's a lot more levels to it than that. Stephanie White does not have offense. She's a defensive specialist coach. I agree 100%, but that still has nothing to do with the players on the court missing shots. Defense wins championships. How come everybody was blaming Christy Sides last year? Some of it was unfair. I will say that. Some of it was unfair. Some of it wasn't. Some of her lineups, some of her changes, and that's the biggest thing, I guess, to me. How long did it take Lexi Hull to to get in the game. She never played Grace Berger for whatever reason. So we don't even see, you can't even see what we had. Erica Wheeler, they kept trying Erica Wheeler. Erica Wheeler is confusing to me because Erica Wheeler was horrible last year. But she's balling out in freaking Seattle right now. I'm like, where did this come from? You wasn't doing this last year. So here's the question, and this is a legitimate question. Were you not playing because the offense or Christy Sides just didn't believe in you or just didn't let you do what you do? Or for whatever reason, you just got, dipped in the fountain of youth and you found a new vibe in Seattle? It could be a little bit of both. Sometimes a change in scenery can help a player a lot. You see that in every sport: baseball, football, soccer, NBA. Sometimes your environment needs to change and your mindset changes. And when your mindset changes, your play changes. So there's some truth to that. But I think Christy Sides, again, I thought she got outclassed a couple times last year. And it was clear, again, my opinion, it was clear she was not used to handling the limelight with somebody like Caitlin Clark. You can be a good coach, but it's a whole different ball game when you get the biggest light in the world in your gym. When you get the biggest, can you deal with the attitudes and the diva and everything that comes with? Some people ain't good at that at all. You have to have a certain kind of something to be able to deal with the type of popularity and attention that comes with somebody like Caitlin Clark. And let me be honest with you, as a league, the league as a whole, in my opinion, was not really ready for that last year. The league made a lot of mistakes last year when it came to Caitlin Clark, and they still making them. And I think a lot of now I'm pouring in my own personal opinions on this one, but I think for the most part, the league as a whole, and many, not all, but a lot of the players last year was feeling some kind of way because Caitlin Clark just came in and just snatched the little attention they had from everybody. And a lot of them women were not happy about that. And you got into the jealousy and the cattiness and all of that type of stuff that are women stereotypes. That's what I think happened. Because the one thing I do know, all of that talk about Caitlin Clark and which side you fell on, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and blah, blah, blah. Caitlin Clark wasn't saying shit. And that was how you know that everybody was trying to feed to this narrative. And for the most part, it caught on and everybody picked a side. And it's like, just keep it basketball. And they couldn't do that. It had to, they have an edge to it. And you know what? For all of the people on ESPN that was talking that shit, Monica McNutt and Elle Duncan and all of them. And the problem is a lot of what they were saying was not untrue. It wasn't false. But in my opinion, sometimes you ain't got to say it. Because if you say it, that means you acknowledge it, and that means you're going to start a conversation that didn't need to be had. Everybody know what the situation is. That was the problem with Angel Reese last year. Everybody knows she was part of the swell of attention that started when her and Caitlin Clark met in the national championship. She's 100% right. She was part of that process too. But I said this the other night. That's like the pretty girl at your school. Everybody knows she's pretty, but it takes on a different connotation when she's telling everybody how pretty she is. Then you're looking at her like, ugh. It don't look the same. It don't look the same when you say it, as opposed to someone paying you a compliment. That was the difference, in my opinion, with Angel Reese. She didn't have to say that. We know that. We know that. But the problem is, nowadays, with social media, and even with this situation with Indiana and the racial slurs that supposedly happened at the game, the problem was you putting too much face value on what you see on social media. That was the problem. Caitlin Clark is more Tiger Woods than Michael Jordan. And I say that because I remember when Tiger Woods came on the scene and people were asking other golfers about Tiger Woods so much to the point that it got irritating, rightfully so. And I've said this, I use this example because this happened. A golfer comes off the course and he's played one of the best rounds of his career as a professional golfer, one of the best rounds on the tour. And the first thing somebody asks him, they stick a microphone in front of his face and asks him about Tiger Woods. And he's like, dude, I just shot a 67. Why are you asking me about Tiger Woods? And it irritated some people. And it wasn't Tiger Woods' fault. Tiger Woods was just going out there and playing ball, even though, just like Caitlin Clark, Tiger Woods brought an unparalleled level of attention and made everybody extra money because these mundane tour events that nobody would show up to, now they were at capacity. So the tour as a whole was making more money. And when the tour makes more money, the players make more money. The purses are bigger. It was a domino effect of good things happening because everybody was watching. Caitlin Clark is doing the same thing. Everybody's watching. The advertising dollars goes up. Everybody starts selling out. We move into bigger venues. The ticket prices go up. It's a domino effect of good things. And at the end of the day, the players are going to benefit with everything that happens in this new CBA that's coming because they are hinging their bets. And they're going to, as much as they swear that they don't like Caitlin Clark, a lot of their argument is going to be based on the numbers that she provides. And this is a reality check because now everybody's talking about the numbers, the viewership plummeting and the ticket sales are going down. And what did you think was going to happen? And everybody's like, the WNBA going to find out. I'm like, what they going to find out? The WNBA has not made money in 30 years. This ain't new to them. This ain't nothing new. And I would argue that now that the meter is coming down, the spike is finished. She gets hurt. Now it comes down a little bit. The bottom, whenever the collapse stops, when she comes back on the court, wherever that level is, when the drop stops, I think it's still going to be higher than what it was years before. So ultimately, they still win it. Because ultimately, there's a lot more people like me that are still watching Natasha Cloud, Brittany Sykes, Shakira Austin. They still want to see what Jewel Lloyd is doing. And anybody else not named Asia Wilson, Caitlin Clark, or Angel Reese. That's the benefit. Now, clearly, they're not going to have the numbers they would with Caitlin Clark because we can touch and agree that she's a big reason for the attention, and that's fine. Keep it like that. Just understand it, acknowledge it, and keep it moving. You can still do your commercials. You can still do, everybody going through that. Angel Reese got a new logo with Reebok, and good. Make that money. Make that money. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's so it's just weird how they finally kicked the door in, and they're getting the attention that the WNBA deserves. And they mad that it was Caitlin Clark that kicked in the door. I used this example yesterday. I think I said this on the stream. It's like they mad that somebody set a case of money. They set a case of $1 million in front of them. And then they open the case and they mad because it was in $5 bills. What you mad at? It's still a mill. Do what you got to do. Caitlin Clark can't make all the commercials. She can't get all the endorsements. So you're going to get the spillover. That's why you're seeing all these CarMax commercials and all this other shit. Somebody else got to make it. She can't do everything. So it sucks that it wasn't you, but it ain't. So, with Chinny Agumake and everybody perpetuating the nonsense and Elle Duncan complaining all the time because of what it is, that's the profession that you choose to be in. So you got to deal with it. How come I'm a content creator and I don't put myself I'm not gonna let nobody label me as a Caitlin Clark stan. I still ain't figured out what a stan is, but whatever. Is that the new slang name for a fan? But because I'm not trolling, I'm not flaming, I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'm trying to keep it a buck, call it like I see it. But everybody's looking for negativity because negativity still gets the clicks. Negativity still gets the clicks. Yeah, Dave. Clark's noise started long before the LSU game. But I mean, let's be real. That's when they got national prominence because it was at a national championship game. So to me, that's fair. I know, but here's the difference. If you are into basketball, you know that's true. But those are not the people we talking about. Because for a league to truly bust the threshold and get to the next level, people that don't necessarily follow the sport have to start paying attention and spending money. That's why I use the Tiger Woods. And now you can put Jordan back in the situation because Jordan was the same way in 84. Everybody wanted to see the kid from North Carolina. And you started paying attention when he started dunking and sticking his tongue out. So people that didn't necessarily follow basketball, they started following Michael Jordan, not watching basketball. They started following Michael Jordan, and slowly but surely, through osmosis, they started learning other names and other people. It's the same. It was the same thing with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, when Tiger Woods happened, when he came out of Stanford, and he made the first Nike commercial, there was no, and I mean no, I could name Calvin Pete, and there's another one. I just remember Calvin Pete. Calvin Pete was the only black golfer that I can remember as a kid on the PGA Tour. The only one. I think it was another one, but and then later on you got Vijay Singh and now I'm talking about golfers of color, not necessarily black. Vijay Singh is Indian. So from that standpoint, when you had Lee Trevino, who was Mexican, um, guys from the European, but golfers of color were not one too many of them. And then you look at the history of golf. Basically, you hitting a white ball on a plantation. And Augusta is where? In the South. Augusta does not have a good history of how they treat black folks down there. And when Tiger Woods happened, you had a groundswell of all of a sudden all of these black golf fans. You had kids playing golf in the city. It was people putting programs together where they could bus kids from the inner city to the suburbs where they could go to a golf range and learn how to play golf. And the golf ranges was making a ton of money. They was making a ton of money from kids in the city. That's why you think black kids don't play hockey, because there ain't no hockey rinks in the city. Same concept. Ain't no golf courses in the middle of the city, and golf is an expensive sport. That's why you ain't see too many black golfers. But then you get Tiger Woods and his military dad and living out in California, different environment. What I tell you about that environment. And then all of a sudden Tiger Woods happens and he becomes the best golfer ever. I don't give a damn how many tournaments he fell short. Tiger Woods has been the best golfer ever. The money he's brought to the game, the exposure he's brought to the game is unequaled. So, and I'm saying all that to say, I went through all of that to say, Caitlin Clark is in that same arena. There are people that are talking about women's basketball that don't know shit about women's basketball, but they know who Caitlin Clark is. Now you got political people reading sarcastic and like joke material online thinking it's real because they don't understand what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. So it was yeah, Carlos, I ain't the black free Canadians and all that kind of stuff. All I know is Jerome McGinley was on the cover of the EA Sports game. And that was the first time I saw a black hockey player on the cover of anything. And then for the same way that Caitlin Clark is doing it right now. Jerome, now I watched hockey earlier, but I started watching the Flyers when I came to Philadelphia because the Flyers were good at that time. So but when you see Jerome McGinley on the cover of a NHL game, you're like, wait a minute. Hold on now. When he was with Calgary, and then you see PK Subban, and it's like, wait a minute. That's a dark-skinned brother. Caribbean. Wait a minute. Don't mean it don't exist, but it has that type of impact, especially people in the States. People still don't realize that one of the dudes, I think, what's his name? Grant Fuhr? One of the famous hockey players, I believe he was one of the ones that on the famous Olympic team was black. You just didn't know that they didn't talk about that stuff. So it just, and I'm saying all that to say that she's making that type of impact and everybody's going to make money off of it. And it amazes me how much that they have shot themselves in the foot in this whole situation. They're trying to control what people say. They're trying to handle internet trolls. They started this AI task force, and I'm like, are you serious? So you done bought a program from somebody that's going to stop online hate. Like, why are you even trying to fight that battle? You're not going to win it. The only winning move is not to play. Ignore it. Stephanie White gave the best advice last year when Connecticut was talking all that shit, and Alyssa White gave her, her speech on online hate and all of that type of stuff. And it's like you can't tell somebody what they can and can't say on the other end of a keyboard. That you can't do. What you can do is ignore the nonsense. And you fighting the wrong battles, in my opinion. You ain't gonna win that battle. The best thing you can do is ignore it and keep it moving. Keep it moving. New York looks like they the best team in the league again. Minnesota looks like they're the second best team in the league again. And I will say right now, Asia Wilson is still the best player in the WNBA. However, right now, at this particular moment in time, Fee Collier is the best player in the league right now. I ain't got no problem saying that. But we still got a long way to go. So, nah. It's hockey is like golf. And again, this is a opportunity. This is a monetary thing. Basketball is not expensive. To this day, you can still go into some neighborhoods. You can go to North Philly, drive down some streets, and you'll still see somebody with a milk crate nailed to a telephone pole. It don't cost money to do that. When you can go to Walmart and spend $5 and get a basketball. Try to spend $100 and start playing hockey. You might not even make it to the rink because you got to rent ice time. Then you got to get the skates. Skates are expensive. Then you got to sharpen the skates. Then you got to get your padding. And then you got to get your stick. Sticks, you think baseball bats are expensive. Get a good hockey stick. So it's a very similar to lacrosse. Up until recently, you ain't see a lot of black kids playing lacrosse because lacrosse is expensive. And it's not in the city. You don't go to a park in New York or a park in Detroit and they playing lacrosse or they playing hockey. Nah, they playing basketball. They don't even play baseball in the parks no more. Everybody playing basketball. It's cheaper. So that's where that comes from. It's not that they can't play, and I'm sure there was a couple black players, but that's dependent upon, well, what's your parents like? Are your parents making money? Are they blue collar workers? Are they white collar workers? Does your household make enough money to where they can play hockey and travel and all of that type of stuff? There's levels to it, bro. There's levels to it. So, but yeah, man, it's but back to the original point. I know I done can kind of went around the world with some of this stuff. Um, Indiana will be okay. Caitlin Clark is gonna come back. She's gonna take her 2 weeks off and they'll be fine. They're gonna win some games with her not in the lineup because I know they're not gonna shoot that bad every game because you got your ebbs and flows. So they had a couple down games, they're gonna have a couple ups games, and they're gonna all of the shots that they missed, they're gonna make. So we're gonna see that happen. So they'll be all right. And if they're not, they're not. It's still early in the season. I mean, if we look up in a week or so and they 3-7, okay, then you might be like arch the eyebrow, like, okay, y'all gotta tighten it up. Y'all better figure something out. Um, so it's one of them things, man. It's one of them things. But it's too early. You got a lot of basketball to play. They've only played 4 or 5 games. Holla at me when they get to game number. I keep saying wanting to say week 10, but game 10. And then you figure out what you got. Right. Though the teams with the best momentum, because we don't have an Olympic break. So it's gonna look a little different this year. So all of those girls that played in Unrivaled, will that start coming to haunt them? Because that fatigue is real. That fatigue is real. So we'll see what they're gonna do. But as of right now, they got some things to work on, but Indiana will be okay. DC is playing better than advertised. DC is a good team. Golden State is a good team to be an expansion team. They're gonna surprise and have a decent year. Chicago's going through some hard times right now. Connecticut's going through some hard times right now. Las Vegas is going through some hard times right now. Seattle's looking good. Atlanta is looking good. Um, Dallas, what did you expect? They finally got their first win, but they're gonna go through some. They got some more heartaches coming. You know, Minnesota's gonna be good. Who am I missing? Phoenix, remains to be seen. Who else? Yeah, New York is what it is. So it's gonna be a good year. And I said this before, and I'm gonna end with this. There is somebody on every team that I want to watch. There is a player on every team that I make sure I'm going to turn the game on and watch. And I didn't feel like that last year. I wanted to watch Indiana because of Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. And I wanted to watch Chicago because of Angel Reese. That was it. Everybody else, I did want to watch Las Vegas because of Asia Wilson. So, but as of right now, there's somebody on every team that I want to watch. Who do the Mystics protect from the expansion draft? My bet, Lucy Olson. I don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea. It better be Brittany Sykes. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see. And Lucy played pretty well last night. She didn't have a lot of points, but she hit a couple of dagger threes at the right time. So it's off and on. People doing stuff that you don't expect. So that's always a good thing. So, but we got a lot to talk about, man. I'll be coming back tonight. I'll have some 8 o'clock tonight is my regularly scheduled podcast. We'll be doing some more WNBA. I think we got a couple games a day. And who's playing tonight? So Golden State, New York. Oof. I want to see how Golden State handles that. And then Dallas and Chicago. I definitely want to see Dallas and Chicago. Paige Beckers and Angel Reese. So that'll be a good matchup. 0-4 versus 1-4. Somebody got to win the game. So is Chicago gonna get their first win, or is Enrique Gumbawale gonna go off again? So we'll see. I'll probably be streaming one of those games. So we'll see. But I'm about to get up out of here, man. Hey, and this has been a good conversation, bro. Dave, keep bringing the heat, brother. I appreciate it. Carlos, as usual, bro. Good chat, man. Great chat. Jamel, keep bringing the heat, bro. Wody Matt, appreciate you. Stuart Brown, all sports with Bonton Son. Hey, I appreciate. Hey, keep bringing the heat, man. You can agree with me or disagree with me all you want. We can have a conversation. It's all good. John Andrews, I appreciate you. Kev, the PRF in the building. AFTR Photography, man. I appreciate you. Came in early with the heat. Tiffany Dark Chocolate, as usual. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat, man. We had a great conversation today, and that's what I like. We keep it basketball, and we had good conversations, and hopefully, just like Bill Cosby used to say with Fat Albert, and if you're not careful, you just may learn something. Hey. No, I didn't do that. I did. All right, I'm gonna get up out of here. All right, I'll see y'all later on tonight, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.